So we have 7 projects which will be presented. They all will have 5 minutes to present. I will be very strict. I'm used to it because when our startups present their elevator pitch, they only have 3 minutes to present themselves. So you will have 5 minutes, which is quite a lot. And first, I would like to welcome here Katrin Hare from University of Applied Sciences Dresden, Project SEMUVA.
So, hello and nice to meet you. I want to present you some topics of our SEMUVA project, which is a project for riverbank filtration. And my working group is part of this project in the topic of the problem of microplastic pollution of raw water received from riverbank filtration. Up to now, it's not known how far a well has to be placed to make sure that the raw water from riverbank filtration remains free of microplastic. If microplastic is found in the river waters or river sediments. Here in this group of experts for water, soil, forests, we are a little bit exotic because we are material scientists, and our part in this project is concentrated on 2 topics which may be relevant for you too. That's why I want to talk about. So we did 2 things. We developed a fast and cost-effective method to identify and to quantify microplastic. The common scientific methods are based on pyrolysis, GCMR, Raman microscopy, IR microscopy, and it's really time-consuming and requires a lot of expensive apparatus to identify and quantify microplastic by these methods. And so we decided to follow another path based on the thermodynamic fingerprint of the polymeric materials which form the microplastic particles. My colleague Lukas Kurzweg will talk about this method in more details because we have a second topic I want to share with you. And this is our new reference materials. I brought this here. This is just a small sample. This are 1,000 particles with a diameter of 250 microns and identical shape. So we are able to produce reference materials from a wide variety of polymers with identical particle size, identical shape, and in an exactly defined number of particles. We use technologies for additive manufacturing to produce these particles. And we are convinced that we can not only use these particles for experiments concerning riverbank filtration, but also to understand transport phenomena, for instance, in soils and waters. And we want to invite you to collaborate with us to use these reference and standard particles for further research topics related with microplastics.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for being so exact. So we still have 1 minute and 20 seconds, so you can ask the questions. Any research partner interested in collaboration with University of Dresden? If not, but I still think you will have a lot of interest during the welcome drink and the dinner later today. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now I would like to welcome to the stage Lukas Kurzweg from University of Applied Sciences Dresden, Project PIA. You have 5 minutes as well.
Yeah, hello. So I'm Lukas Kurzweg from the University of Applied Science as well, and I'm working with Katrin Harre in the project PIA, which means Potentials in Application. So that means we already had some ideas that were proven to be, or to have a very good potential to be applied. And in particular, we are working again in the field of microplastics and how to analyze microplastics in complex particulate matrices, for example, sediments, but also soils. And what we do is we measure the thermodynamic fingerprint of a sample. That means we heat them and we cool them, and we can detect melting and crystallization processes that we then use to quantify and to identify the microplastic that is in our sample. The problem with this technique, but also with other microplastic analysis techniques, is that we need to extract the microplastic from the complex particulate matrix. We cannot just filter a cubic meter of soil like we could do with water. So we need extraction methods, and for that we investigated the electrostatic separation, which uses different surface properties of polymers and sand or soil particles to separate these particles from each other. And the benefit of electrostatic separation is we can process huge amounts of samples. We're talking about kilos, from 1 to 5 kilos of sample within just one sample run, within maybe an hour or two, which is a huge benefit concerning the time and also then the cost of microplastic analysis. And we did some research on the device and how to improve it, and at the moment we have this device basically so far, how to say, changed, that we can apply it to sediments, and we have defined clear working ranges where we can apply it to sediments. And we now hope to transfer it to the soil sector as well, because there was a nice research paper of Christoph Dorau just from this or last year, who tried to find out how much soil we have to analyze for a representative soil analysis. They found they had to process at least 1.3 kilos of soil, and then they needed to extract these kind of 1,000 particles per kilogram of soil, which is quite challenging. And this is why we would suggest to use electrostatic separation as a first step towards an extraction and a sustainable and cost-efficient microplastic analysis in sediments as well as in soils. And since I said this is a PIA means potentials in application, we are looking for partners to apply these techniques. For example, we're looking for companies that are willing to focus on the remediation of soils from microplastics, or to monitor microplastics in soils or in other particulate matrices. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me after this panel.
Thank you very much. Any question from the audience? If not, I think you can talk to representatives of Deconta. Maybe you can find some kind of cooperation. Thank you very much. Now I would like to welcome to the stage Kateřina Dabrowska-Zielinska from Institute of Geodesy and Cartography. Yes, you will have slides.
Good morning, good afternoon. I represent the Institute of Geodesy and Cartography from Warsaw, Poland. And we have a project which from the Norwegian fund, and NCBIR, that concern grassland. Grassland in Poland and in Norway. You can see the whole team, numbers, and the number from Norway as well, and the institutions that take part. I know that the conference is a soil conference, but what is growing on soil, that's important because that vegetation depends on soil, yes? Yes, I can do it, yeah? I don't know how, if I do or not. Can I? Yep. Okay, so we do detail, as you can see, detailed field measurements in Norway and in Poland. It is important because the whole title, as you saw, it's Tools to Farmer, about the danger that comes from winter, it's a frost, or from summer, that is drought, towards the yield. So that's to tell them what they should do for to avoid or to cultivate in such a way that they will know what how to get the best yield of the grassland. You can see in Poland what it's important to know about the grass. It was used to be a big export of the grass, but now with climate change, everything changes. In Norway, the grassland is very important. We have to compare how the grass survived after winter, when it was no snow and low temperatures. That happens also in Poland. The whole system that is set is system on the API, so the farmer could see in which part of their plot really were very difficult situation. We find out, here it was a nice photo, but it's not, the leaf area index, how from leaf area index calculate the yield. And we found out from Copernicus program, LAI, we compare with measurements, ground measurements. We can show the farmer how it was last year, how it's this year, in which part of their plot, so he will know where it's a danger happens in the plot. So what is the difference between drought in 23 comparing to 22? There are algorithms, everything will be on a platform for calculating and prognosis of predicted biomass. And what is very important is soil moisture. It is that we measured soil moisture. We have for each pixel from SSMI, so it's a satellite, radar satellite, models for soil moisture. We can say in which part this moisture, there was drought in 23 comparing to 22, and what could be the difference. Moisture affects very much the yield. It's also kind of example, you know, that NASA has eco-stress platform, and evapotranspiration, surface temperature, it is very advantageous to add to this program. That's how it looks, mobile application system for the farmer. He's choosing his field, he's knowing how is vegetation indices comparing to last year, etc. If he needs more water, is it water stress or not? How it's the water content looks like, what is the soil moisture comparing or not comparing, and the differences that happens each year, how it will affect in drought. You can see over there the index, satellite index and DVI comparing and having the difference in the field status and field for proper management of the whole areas. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
7 minutes?
It was 5.
Wow.
Great job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now I would like to invite to the stage Florin Cea from Romania. Sorry. From National Institute for Research and Development in Chemistry and Petrochemistry.
Thank you for the opportunity to present our project. So it's a Norway grant, started in 2020. Practically, we develop it, we try to use biostimulant in order to compensate the trade-off, some of negative impact of the high farming. Because if you are looking to the benefits, we'll see that most of them are eco-services. And for the farm, for the high farming, the farmers claim that the agro-services incentives are not enough in order to cover their negative impact. All of these are related to the yield, first of all. And practically our next generation plant biostimulant are strigolacton and nanoselenium. Selenium being one of the few elements where the nanoparticles are less toxic than the salt. And we develop it practically Trichoderma consortium with response to the strigolacton and different type of the glycodinamer. Glycodinamers are this type of the compound where the covalent link is jumping, is dynamic. 21st century chemistry. Which are the benefits that are slowly releasing this kind of the compound. We identified microbial strain which are producing nanoselenium, microalgae which respond to different type of the strigolactons. We characterized this, and what was the benefits of our cooperation? Because we were complementary in establishing the ecotoxicology of the synthetic strigolacton. Strigolacton are too difficult to use as natural compound. And the synthetic compound have some very interesting property, like being anti-cancerogenic product, inducing apoptosis, but are also sometimes very toxic. And we characterize and we show that even in this kind of the genotoxicity, it's a low genotoxicity cell. So we developed this kind of the project, and here is the benefit of our system in a field experiment. This is mulch, hairy wedge mulch, Vicia villosa mulch, together with trichoderma, a luxuriant development of the tomato, and this is a bare soil control. You could see the difference. And of course, it's also a difference on yield. It's a difference on quality of the product. And it's a difference on glomalin with all the questionable issue related to the glomalin. Anyhow, this is largely accepting as being an indicator of the carbon, sustainable carbon storage into the soil by the coverage, by this kind of the coverage. Working together with the high farming, this kind of the system, I think that is focusing on two major issue of the healthy soil. Carbon storage in a sustainable manner without increasing nitrification and nitrogen protoxide release and CO2 release. And second, the biggest issue of the European agriculture that Norway probably will not fix it as is a lack of phosphorus, a critical material for Europe and a critical material for the agricultural yield in Europe. Because mycorrhiza, which are promoted by the strigolactone and the polyamine, which are released from the hairy wedge mulch, could be act as promoter of mycorrhiza symbiosis. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Okay, no. So thank you very much again. Now I would like to welcome Jakub Hoffmann from Masaryk University, and he will present project benchmarks under Horizon Europe within the soil mission.
It's working. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to present the project benchmark, which is Horizon Europe project. It's coordinated by the Wageningen University, and it started this year in January, so it's just beginning. It's a relatively huge project of over 30 partners, and it should be for 5 years. It belongs to the soil mission. Within the project, we would like to establish 24 living labs, case studies, and you can see on the map that they are covering basically many countries in Europe. They are also covering different types of the landscapes, of the land use. So 3 mains: agricultural land, urban systems, and forest. The project, as belongs to the soil mission, is focused on the soil quality. So it has several objectives that are related to the soil, reflecting the call which was based on the soil mission, so following all the issues we have heard today. So the first main goal is to set and also verify the group of indicators for the soil health assessment. This should be harmonized. This should be also practically useful, cost-effective, and they should have clearly demonstrated links to the soil functions and ecosystem services. Beyond the proposed indicators from the Commission, in the project there are also additional indicators from all the possible groups like biological, physical, and chemical soil properties that should be also validated and compared to the proposed set of soil health indicators. There are planned also sampling campaigns. So within all 24 case studies, the soil will be sampled, and also harmonized methodologies for the soil analysis. The set of these methodologies should be compiled, and the sampling methodology will the most probably come from the Lucas sampling methodology. In the benchmarks concept, we are overlapping 3 land uses, as I mentioned already, then 3 scales, so there will be the local studies, then the landscape and region scales covered, and we will be working with 3 types of measures based on the samples and the measurements of soil samples, using the space data, and then using already existing big data about soil available in Europe. Of course, the project is involving the multi-stakeholder platform, as usually done in these European projects. So we will be working also with the stakeholders. We plan to involve the stakeholders at different levels, and practically, in our case, we will do some workshops with the relevant stakeholders speaking about the quality of soils in our case studies. I may jump here. What we will be doing, so along with the analysis of all samples from the project, for pesticide content, we will be also running these 2 case studies, One will be focusing on forest soils north from Brno after the bark beetle catastrophe. And the second case study will be focused on gardens and soil quality in private gardens in Brno. And with that, I would like to thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Any questions? I can see Anna.
Thank you. It's a great project. Could you speak a little bit about how this approach to measuring and monitoring soil health is going to be developed in such a way that the needs of the different stakeholders and their understandings of soil quality, their needs in terms of the the use of technologies and questions related to data use and open access are integrated into the development of this very important overarching framework. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question. So the stakeholders are involved in the project from the very beginning. So already now, the sampling campaigns are planned for the next year, but already now there are ongoing discussions with the stakeholders within the work package that is focused on that. And we are collecting the, let's say, the expectations from the stakeholders, what they want to know about the soil and so on. And based on that, it's based on the publication of the main coordinator, and they use some kind of sieve of the expectations and needs from the soil, and based on this sieve, the parameters from the, let's say, portfolio of indicators and methods are selected.
Thank you very much. I would like to welcome Jakub Muñoz from the Crop Research Institute.
Well, hi friends. It's a pleasure for me to be here because I'm looking for cooperation. I don't have a project, but yes, I'm from Crop Research Institute, and we are working now in the north of Bohemia with the problem of carbon extraction and so on, so recuperation, and we are able to cooperate in the same area of the sense of the program, and we would want to offer our experience in applied research in the area of waste valorization. We are caught with many wastes in our country, and we use different pre-treatment, treatments, and post-treatment. For example, we have experiences in torrefaction, hydrothermal carbonization, anaerobic digestion, and aerobic fermentation to improve the properties of different wastes, to prepare them to apply in the soil, to solve the before presenting problems. For example, we are able to convert the waste in biofertilizers, to convert in soil improvers, additives, or chemicals, all use it to increase the soil structure in a positive form, to increase the organic matter, to keep, for example, carbon fixing, to absorb some part of the pollutants, to keep in a longer time in the nature, not for plants. And I think so. This is our expertise. Yes, it's our offer for you. If you have so interest, you can speak with me. and we can find some common sense. Okay.
Thank you very much
you
for
very
your
much.
presentation. I would like to remind the audience that all the presentation will be available on the website. So if you don't remember all the details from all the presentation, you can go back to the website and check the presentation, and you also have the contact details. So I think it will be very useful for many of you. And last but not least, I would like to welcome Vít Šrámek from Forestry and Game Management Research Institute.
Good afternoon. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I made a terrible mistake because the author was present your project and I will present the activities of our institute, although we have Norwegian projects too in this time. We are of course interested very much in forest soils, which cover more than 1/3 of our country and has quite important function for the forest and for the landscape. And also they have some significant threats like acidification, heavy metal deposition, and so on. We are part of the ICP forest community, which means that we have made several soil surveys. The first was in 1990s. There was a second soil survey, biosoil, between 2005 and 2008, including also some biodiversity parameters. And the next survey is planned. We have also the database from the forest nutrition evaluation, and we are kind of scientific coordinators of forest liming in our country, which is especially in mountain areas, in all mountains made since 2010. But we have not the only institution with soil surveys. We have the Forest Management Institute with the National Forest Inventory. We have also the Central Institute for Supervising with many samples in polluted areas. And so we tried in our project to get the data together and made one common database for the upper organic layer, for the upper mineral layer up to depth of 30 centimeters. And we have also several thousand sites for the deeper soil layer in forest soils, up to 80 centimeters. And we have made such models and maps which show that our soils are strongly acidic, with often lack of calcium or magnesium, which of course has the influence of the base saturation, which you can see especially in the mountain regions is very poor, and in fact it's in future is threatening the forest nutrition. We have also some problems with phosphorus content, and our forest soils are on strong risk of acidification. And it has implied on the forest management, like management of logging residues, which are often sold for heat and energy production, but we found that only at 7% of our area there is just slight risk, but there is everywhere risk for removing logging residues because they has a lot of nutrients. Now we face the bark beetle calamity, which peaked in 2021, and you can see that more than 150,000 hectares was deforested in our country in the last 10 years. So this area look like that, and it means that there are quite consequences and a risk to carbon stock, to release of nutrients from the upper organic layer, and also for heavy metal release. And this risk can be reduced by immediate reforestation. Here you just can see that for many of main nutrients, the main stock is the upper organic layer, which is at the risk in the clear-cutted areas. The risk of heavy metal release is quite important, especially in the northern Moravia and Silesia region, where there was a lot of pollutants in the history. And it's also quite significant. And this is the region where the bark beetle calamity starts, so it's quite important. And of course, there is a question for the forest management in the future. One of the hot topics is change of species, because our forests are mainly covered by Norway spruce, and we will change it to the more mixed forest and broadleaves, which of course have consequences for carbon. So what I want to summarize, that forest soil surveys are the base for the research and for the evaluation of procedures of forest management, considering the futures of forest soils. That there were a lot of research projects which are quite short, but they focus on aluminium, heavy metals, or nutrient balance in different type of forests. And of course, that we have to focus on the clear cuts environment and ecosystem, and try to find the ways for forest management, how to cope to the situation. This is just thanks to our colleagues and cooperating institutions, which, as you can see, are universities. These are institutions, ministries, but we have also a lot of cooperation with forest owners and local foresters. And I also thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Any questions? If not, I would like to thank you to all the researchers for presenting their projects and activities. And, okay, I have to move. Sorry for the feedback. And now we have ahead of us a discussion on Cluster 6 and research and development funding. I will try. Okay. And I think it will be a nice surprise for you, because I will not be moderating this discussion. I will pass the mic to my two colleagues, to Nadia and to Gudrun, and they will moderate the discussion with all of you. So, ladies, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I would like to say the discussion will be on working together for a healthy soil, water and forests. And we would like to ask the researchers who just presented to stay here in the front, and we will ask a few questions to all of them. So could you please come here? Okay. Okay, so you can sit, and there will be microphone coming to you, so you can stay where you are. So maybe we have divided the questions among Gudrun and myself. So the questions are for the presenters and as well for the public, if you would like to answer. And as well, I don't know if the Slido is still in function, so maybe you can also ask some questions from public. So please, Gudrun, you can start.
Okay, thank you so much. First of all, thank you for presenting. And I would like to just take a deep breath, because now I would suggest you think for a second, what is your Christmas wish regarding new research which is needed in order to prepare for and provide for healthy soil, water and forests? So what kind of research do we need, and what are the challenges which we have to address? So given there is enough money for applications, what would you suggest we should be doing? I would like to ask Vit Stramek to perhaps start, because you had the floor on the forests.
Yeah, thank you. What I think is quite important from my point of view is now to evaluate the possible ways of forest management and see its influence on the forest soil and calculate it. Because you see, in forestry, the soil was seen like something which is for long-term sustainable. We were not thinking about amelioration of the soil, of fertilizing of the soil, because the production of forest is quite long-term. You have 100 of years, but it seems that the situation is not so easy. The forests are also changing. They are on the risk. The future is diverse from what we know from the past, and we don't have exact idea how the different methods of forestry management will influence the soil. And this is the knowledge which we should together.
Yeah, so the effects of all the challenges together, in a way.
Yeah.
Systemic approach is always wanted. Okay. We are also talking about water, so I don't know who would like to take up that one. Katarzyna, are you? Here you are. I don't know if I pronounced it correctly. So, Susanna, if you... So what is your dream, what we should be financing?
Recycling of the matter, recycling of water, so the water could go again for irrigation, etc. The other thing is that in Europe it's not popular to catch precipitation like in some other countries. I was in Australia, and every house has outside the precipitation captured for management of the household. And that's really very, very important. So having natural as well, natural heating, you know, there are such examples, very interesting, even with the soil included in it as giving the heat. So anyhow, that natural kind of use, what we could use, yes, what it's also the catching, but now it is popular, but catching the water from floods in a way of infiltration. So to do and organize possibilities and good conditions for infiltration water. What is also against area that water could not infiltrate, but that water is not coming back to the river, but it could be used afterwards for agriculture, etc.
Yeah, so another way of recycling water and
keeping this water. Yes,
of the resource.
Catch.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Regarding the soil, I don't know, I keep the floor open. Who would like to take the floor of those who have had a presentation? Florin, please, take the floor.
Yeah. So, I am thinking to two approaches. One is related to the circular bioeconomy, and I would like to see a project where it's recycled the lignin and the mineral from the plant biomass back to soil. Because in the nowadays approach, and we in Romania, we have a big refinery, okay, big, 100,000 ton bioethanol, cellulosic bioethanol. It's big. It's the only one which is still running because produce enzyme in situ. But still they are not closing. They are not closing the gap. They are not closing the the loop. Yeah? The lignin, which is essential for the healthy soil, and the mineral, which are a problem, are not returning back to the soil. And the second, as I mentioned also, I am in love with mycorrhizae, and if it's possible, to have a project which is focused on mycorrhiza. And we are ready to cooperate with all our research institutes from our network in Romania, in Norway, in other countries. And I hope that will be some poet which will be inspired, like was in the presentation previously done. Thank you.
Please apologize. What did you say? The
mycorrhiza.
Mycorrhiza.
Yeah, mycorrhiza. Arbuscular mycorrhiza. IMF.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I understand.
Strigolactone and polyamines,
okay.
which are promoting their
great.
symbiosis.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
and
much.
of course, the Bauhaus, if it's possible to have it as I learned today. Thank you very much.
Okay. So this was really a dream, because in the Bauhaus it's even written, we should take care of our souls. All right, now I move to the second question. What is needed in order to apply for Horizon Europe funding? And here I would like to hear those who have not had the floor up to now. So, what do you need in order to apply or to manage to prepare for a good proposal to Horizon Europe? Who would like to take the floor? Who has tried actually among you in the panel? Anyone who has tried to send an application? Yes, you have, of course. Benchmarks, of course, yes. And from Deconta or from, no, you, not yet. Okay, so what is needed?
I would say a lot of luck, because we applied several times, to be honest, and we never managed. We were this close last time, but of course you have to have a network of partners that you can cooperate with. But in my experience, it comes like a snowball. You start with few partners, and then you end up with 30, which is a bit too much. That's it. I think the luck is the main ingredient we were missing.
Okay, so you wish luck. Okay, perhaps you find it in the Bauhaus. Anyone else who wants to take the floor? You are Jakub.
Yes, we are not coordinating any of this project, but with my group we are participating in 3, and at Recetox we have, I think, 20 or more. I would say network on the first place. So then it's kind of snowball, as was mentioned, that you have already the networks and the people are asking for the follow-up projects and so on. So it's ongoing. And sometimes patience, because it might be that for the first trial you are not successful, but it's worth to take seriously the reviews and consider the changes proposed, and then to try again, if possible, if there is a good call for that, or be also adaptable, because the calls might be different, but you can still somehow employ your expertise. I don't know what to add.
Very good suggestions. I think keep trying, because you will always benefit even from writing the proposal, and if you are not financed by Horizon Europe, you might get money from the EA and Norway grants.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
So I think you have good points. Anyone else who would like to come up with suggestions? Yeah, Per, please. You do not get my microphone, I'm sorry.
NIBU has been rather successful in applying for EU-funded money, and one of the key for the success is actually the Norwegian Research Council. You have you forgot to say it, but you should be very proud of yourself, because both with giving courses and are also extremely good in informing about possible call topics. So I would like to just give you what is it called in English? Gi dere ros.
Okay, praise you.
Yeah. So it's a very good system we have in Norway, that we have a good support from the Research Council of Norway with advisors and courses. Thank you.
Thanks for these words, kind words. Okay, and the last question would then be, how could the bilateral cooperation, which is established in the projects funded by the EEA and Norway grants, benefit for future applications? So, because you, Lucas and Andrzej and Michal, you have EA projects, Norway grants projects?
Can you repeat the question?
The question is, how could the bilateral cooperation in the projects funded by the EEA and Norway grants benefit for future applications to Horizon Europe or other funding possibilities?
Well, it surely would, because it's the start of the networking. So maybe because when Andrzej spoke about luck, I would say maybe we need a lot of patience as well, and maybe don't look at the big goals. Maybe start small. That's what we did at our faculty. We started small. We didn't want to coordinate big Horizon projects, and we use also the networking that we obtained from the EA grants from the previous calls, and start small. Give the leadership to someone who has already experience with running these huge projects, because as Andrzej mentioned, we are also part of preparation of several projects. Sometimes we were successful and there were 30 partners or something like that. But yeah, so it's a good start, because we usually have good experience with Norwegian partners. This is our second big EA project. And again, it starts the networking. It helps with finding other partners. And because one important part is that you need to have a geographically balanced team within the Horizon call. And so this helps as well. So okay. It was quite general, but I think you got the message.
Yeah, but it's good to hear that from you as well, since you have experiences. Right, now I give the floor to Nadia, and you continue with the questioning.
Okay, thank you very much, Gudrun. We still have 3 questions which I would like to ask, mainly to those who have already presented shortly their project. And the question is, how could the outcomes of the project contribute to the soil mission objectives? And what will be the next step after the current project? So who would like to start? Okay, so I do not want to be like at school, but again, okay, so Florin will start.
I will start it, because I have a thought. It's related also to the previous question. So it's quite difficult to network projects which are from bottom up, as was already presented here, which are the EA and Norway grants. So it's a bottom-up approach with a top-down approach. Unless we are not briefing the European Commission, our subject will be not included into the, let's be honest. I am direct. This is the issue, briefing. I participated to some European project, and I know how was the topics finally discussed it and accepted in the Commission. It's a lot of briefing, which you should have done in the informing decision makers. Yeah, honestly. So, and another approach will be maybe to enlarge and maybe to change the Eurostar and Eureka network, which is already a quite old European initiative, and maybe could be upgraded in order also to respond to the European mission, different type of European mission, because in this manner we could involve also the private sector. Yeah, this is how we think that will be possible to keep our cooperation and to upscale our results. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Maybe Jakub would like to add something, because it's very natural that project funded from the mission call will contribute to the goals. So could you please just sum up how you would contribute?
It's quite logical because the call was designed basically based on the mission. So the project is following all the issues and objectives that are in the mission and that were translated to the call. So the framework for the monitoring, the framework for the indicators, harmonized methodologies, and so on. So, and I believe that within these 5 years, with so many participants, it should be also successful, and we will really deliver something that maybe will not be final, so it might be still somehow improved, but I believe that the contribution of this project will be really significant, that there will be some monitoring scheme, framework, and also the decision-making scheme, how to select the indicators for the soil quality measurements for different purposes at all these levels and all these land uses based on the discussions with the stakeholders.
Yeah, thank you very much. You are quite at the beginning of the project, but of course it will deliver the results in few years, I suppose. Okay, so maybe Katarzyna or colleagues from Germany, how they see their contribution to the mission goal? Would you like to comment a little bit shortly?
About the missions?
Yeah. If you see it. Contribution.
I think what is very important, it's this not only networking, because networking is just flat, but to make a kind of representatives of different parts of the countries for some really good kind of project or endeavor that has to be done. When I was looking, there was Europe, but there were kind of white spots of the countries that were not in it. And the mission is always to be complete. It's to have representatives of different parts, geographically located countries, etc.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? If not, I will go to my second question, which is mainly focused at our Czech colleagues. How should Czech authorities support the success of the mission? What are the authorities doing and what should they do? So, who would like to start? Yeah.
Maybe also the others will agree with me that there is missing the communication and harmonization about the soil protection between the resorts, between the Ministry of Agriculture and Ministry of Environment. And also my personal experience is that when I asking the stakeholders from these ministries, that the response is not so active as I would like to see it.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Maybe the colleagues from Metalrem also have some suggestions. What should the authorities do better?
Well, I have to say that when we had our first EA project, which was in the call, which was 7 years ago, I think, we didn't have really good experience with the Ministry of Education. I have to say it openly. And other colleagues who had this project had similar experience. And yeah, it was basically the same thing. It was not very flexible. Now I have to say it's perfect. With the technological agency, it's great. And I think what was said before is completely true. When you're preparing the project, you expect at least some sort of flexibility and some sort of quick responses from the stakeholders and especially from the policymakers or the authorities, which is not really the case. But I don't know how to change that. I guess that's not for us to change that.
Okay.
But I think the support is great and the technological center is great, not only with Horizon but also with ERC projects and everything like that. So I'm completely happy with that.
Okay. Thank you very much also for your kind words. Anybody else from the audience would like to recommend the Czech authorities what they should do better? No. So let's go into the last question, and here you can influence or recommend to focus. What would you recommend to focus on the next funding period for the EEA and Norway grants based on your experience from the project implementation and also in terms of strategic focus for the next funding period? So here you can give recommendations how to let's say, set up strategically the next program and calls. So this is mainly questions for those who have experience from Kappa program or other programs supported from EEA and Norway grants. Yeah.
Okay, there was a big conference last week here in Czechia, actually, called Aqua Console. It's held every 2 years, and it's a big talk all around Europe and Western world in a decade about polyfluorinated hydrocarbons and their appearance in the environment. While in Czechia, it's kind of not that important topic yet, so I would suggest that's one of the topics Kappa program can focus on in the future.
Thank you. More advices or recommendations for the next period? You can also speak about implementation if you see any issues which might be done slightly better. You can also give us advice. No? No? So everybody's happy. So I think we can close this part of the discussion, and well, I will pass the floor again to Adela. Thank you.